overweight research volunteers lost an average of 5 pounds without changing their diet or lifestyle, thanks to this cutting-edge probiotic. Sound too good to be true? Keep watching to find out. Your microbiome is almost as unique as your fingerprint, but unlike the whorls and lines that make up one of your most individual physical traits, it's very changeable. And because of how important the microbiome is to the function of your body, when the balance of the microbes living in your gut is thrown off, it can result in serious health problems, including weight gain and obesity. That's right. Even if you're eating a healthy diet and getting lots of exercise, your gut microbiome could be standing in the way of your weight loss. Enter Akkermansia muciniphila, a VIP bacteria that has scientists and functional doctors sitting up and paying attention, especially for its potential to reverse metabolic syndrome, regulate blood sugar, protect against heart disease, and of course, help you finally lose some unwanted fat. In this video, I'll introduce you to Akkermansia, dive into the research to explain how it can help you lose those stubborn extra pounds, and show you the best strategies for boosting your Akkermansia levels. Let's get to it. Akkermansia is a very special strain of bacteria included in the 3 to 4 pounds of microbes that live in and on your body. It's a new kid on the block for researchers, having first been isolated in the lab in 2004. In healthy people, Akkermansia accounts for up to 4% of intestinal bacteria, but every person's microbiome is different. You couldn't live without your microbiome. It talks to your immune system, your brain, your liver, your lungs, and other body systems, keeping things balanced and functional by partnering with your own cells. And Akkermansia muciniphila plays an oversized role in hundreds of processes associated with health and longevity, which is why we call Akkermansia a keystone strain of bacteria. One of the unique features of Akkermansia is that it lives in, feeds on, and helps regulate the mucus layer that sits on top of your intestinal cells. It's right there in the name, muciniphila. So you're not going to find this microbe in your probiotic yogurt, sauerkraut, or kombucha because it doesn't feed on glucose. It's also anaerobic, meaning it dies in the presence of oxygen, which makes it tricky to grow in a lab and manufacture into a stable supplement. We know that lower levels of Akkermansia in your gut are strongly correlated with increased health problems. Researchers have found lower levels in folks with colitis, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, liver disease, and obesity. Get this. One study showed that obese mice had 100 times less Akkermansia in their gut than their lean brothers and sisters. That's a big deal. So how does Akkermansia help you lose extra body fat? There are a few main mechanisms. Akkermansia increases your body's production of glucagon-like peptide 1, or GLP-1. You've probably heard about this peptide in the context of weight loss drugs like Ozempic or Wegovy, which act like GLP-1 in the body. But did you know that your body makes its own GLP-1? That's right. It's made in your gut or gastrointestinal tract when you eat to help regulate your intake of food. Boosting your body's production of GLP-1 can help you lose weight in a few ways. After you consume food, GLP-1 sends a signal to your pancreas that causes the release of insulin, lowering your blood sugar. GLP-1 also signals for satiety, or the sense that you've had enough to eat, by activating certain areas of your brain. And it slows down how quickly food moves from your stomach to your intestines, a process called gastric emptying. This keeps you feeling full longer. By producing butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid, and secreting a specialized protein called P9, Akkermansia boosts your body's natural production of GLP-1. And unlike GLP-1 agonist medications, it doesn't cause digestive side effects or rebound weight gain if you stop taking it. Akkermansia also increases energy expenditure in fat cells, sometimes called thermogenesis, and decreases carbohydrate absorption from the intestines. This may be why multiple studies have shown that even when the test subjects don't eat less, they still lose more weight than the control group. This is good news for people who already have their diet dialed in, but still struggle to lose extra body fat. Akkermansia decreases chronic inflammation by healing and sealing gut barrier dysfunction, aka leaky gut. It does this using a protein that is expressed on the surface of Akkermansia called AMUC 1100. This protein signals for toll-like receptors, occludin and claudin, to improve intestinal barrier function. But let's back up a second, because first you need to know what leaky gut is in the first place. The cells that form the inside of your intestinal wall are all lined up, side to side, creating a barrier between the outside world of your digestive tract and the inside of your body, which is your bloodstream in this case. Structures called tight junctions, which are made up of complex regulatory proteins, help maintain this barrier, and they're hugely influenced by Akkermansia via that AMUC 1100 protein that signals to occludin and claudin. This barrier is super important for keeping the right things out and letting the right things in. But more often than we'd like, the connection between the cells is disrupted or broken, creating what you might think of as little leaks in that barrier, where things can get into the bloodstream that don't belong there. This results in both direct inflammation from whatever toxic or inflammatory particle that's sneaking through, and indirect inflammation from the activation of the immune system. One of the ways we know that Akkermansia helps heal leaky gut is by measuring lipopolysaccharides, or LPS, in the blood. LPS is an endotoxic inflammatory component of gut bacteria that gets into the bloodstream if you have leaky gut. When LPS levels rise, it can trigger chronic immune-mediated inflammation, which then leads to metabolic syndrome and fat loss resistance. Research shows that Akkermansia can reduce LPS levels in the blood, which both helps resolve inflammation and demonstrates a sealed-up gut barrier. All right, so now that you know how Akkermansia can help you lose body fat, I'm going to share the best ways to raise and maintain your Akkermansia levels. And by the way, if you'd like to know if you have low levels of Akkermansia in your gut, you can measure it using an at-home functional stool test. We help folks all over the world get access to this testing. And if you order it through my website, I'll even help you interpret your results and come up with an action plan. I'll put a link in the video description with more info in case you're interested. The first strategy you can use to boost your Akkermansia levels is consuming foods that are rich in polyphenols, which are naturally occurring, beneficial compounds found in colorful fruits, vegetables, tea, coffee, dark chocolate, and spices. Studies have shown that specific polyphenols like grapeseed extract, mustard extract, green tea, and especially pomegranate boost the abundance of Akkermansia in the gut. Adding these foods to your regular diet, or even taking them in supplemental form, is a great way to support Akkermansia. I'll share a link to my favorite high-dose polyphenol product in the video description. And just FYI, when you order any product through my dispensary, you'll get a really nice discount, so be sure to check that out. The second strategy is to take an Akkermansia mucinophila probiotic, like the folks in that research study I mentioned at the beginning of the video. This option's relatively new, given how difficult it is to manufacture supplements containing microbes that die in the presence of oxygen, like Akkermansia does. But the evidence is clear that supplementing with Akkermansia, both live forms and pasteurized forms, has some serious weight loss benefits. There's the recently published human trial that found supplementation with Akkermansia decreased body weight by an average of 5 pounds, decreased hip circumference by an average of 1 inch, and decreased waist circumference by an average of 0.6 inches. And these folks were specifically asked not to change their diet or exercise during the 3 months of the study. They also got some nice side benefits, including improved blood sugar balance and lowered cholesterol. Another study found that people who supplemented with Akkermansia after losing a bunch of weight with a low-fat diet were able to maintain it significantly better than those who didn't. And mouse studies have found that taking supplements containing Akkermansia decreased triglycerides, lowered inflammation in the liver, and even improved cognitive function, including spatial memory and object recognition, which could have profound implications for dementia prevention. I'll share my suggested probiotic containing Akkermansia, the same one from the research study, via a link in the video description, so be sure to take advantage of that generous discount in my full script dispensary. One important note about taking supplemental Akkermansia has to do with something called the Herxheimer reaction. When you regenerate the good bacteria in your gut, they will crowd out and kill the bad guys. When this happens, LPS gets released into the gut and soaked up by your cells. This can cause a temporary die-off reaction involving symptoms like heartburn, constipation, diarrhea, bloating, or gas for a few days. It doesn't always happen right away, and it shouldn't last for weeks and weeks, so don't let it scare you off. If you stop the supplement and the symptom goes away, you'll know it's likely a Herxheimer reaction, and you can typically push through. Just want to make sure you know what to expect when giving Akkermansia a try. Like any cutting-edge scientific discovery, Akkermansia holds a lot of promise. It's safe and effective, and it's being studied for its potential to treat everything from non-alcoholic fatty liver disease to autoimmunity to anxiety and depression. But it's also not without controversy. Scientists are still trying to figure out if supplemental Akkermansia is best when it's live or pasteurized, and there are pros and cons to each approach. If you'd like me to do a video review detailing the difference between live and pasteurized Akkermansia, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to do a deeper dive into this very special bacteria if there's enough interest. Remember, these videos are for you, so suggestions for topics are always welcome. Be sure to check out the links in the video description for all the free resources and discounts that I mentioned in the video, including my favorite supplements for boosting Akkermansia. I think you'll find them really helpful. And thanks so much for being here, for supporting my channel with your likes and subscribes, and for spreading the word about the work I'm doing. I appreciate it more than you know. We'll see you in the next video.